We've got the old busted, new hotness. Hey, what is up, guys? I'm pretty excited about this video today. This is a part I've been looking forward to putting on for a long time. No, it's not the wheels, but these are the new wheels. They look awesome. They're just like the ones on the Suburban. That will be in a video a little bit later on, but today we've got some transfer case action. In pretty much every other truck I've had, I've never really gotten to do anything cool with gearing, mostly because the options just weren't there, or it was really just too expensive. So I just never changed anything up. But Samurai, lots of gearing options, just like the Toyota. So I'm really excited about it. I've been watching videos like crazy. All the guys that have the 6.4, the 6.5 to 1, the rock block, the axle gearing, all of that. I love seeing the cool crawl ratios. I'm hoping it's going to help me drive this. This part was a little bit unexpected. I knew I was going to get some gearing in. I didn't know I was going to go this route. Excited to show you guys what I got, and I'm really excited to try it out. So first, let's get this old transfer case out, swap some parts over, and then we'll bolt the new one in. So obviously this one had a leak in multiple places, plus the transmission shifter up at the top, the boot was messed up, and there was stuff leaking out all over for what appears to be a long time. I mean, this is really caked on there. This thing is pretty much just thrashed. This does not feel good turning around. So instead of taking this one apart and putting the gear set in it myself, what I decided to do was go to Trail Tough and have them build me the refurbished one. You can see I've got this big cradle around it, but there's a few reasons why I didn't want to use this one, and I didn't just get a case with gears in it, I got a bunch of goodies in here. To redo the gears in here, you need to have a press, a bunch of different tools that I just didn't have at the moment. Instead of running the stock Samurai gears, which are really hard to off-road with, we went with the 6.4 to 1, which are not the lowest. They make 6.5 to 1, and I think that is probably the most popular one out there, and maybe that's the reason why I've seen so many failed gear sets for the transfer case in 6.5. Another reason is probably because of the install, when people don't install them correctly. My Suburban has 2.72 to 1 in the low range. Jeep Rubicons have the 4 to 1. When you do doublers in the full-size trucks, 203, 205, I think those get around 5.3 to 1. So 6.4 to 1, 6.5 to 1. These are huge ratios. I mean, this is a game changer for the Samurai for sure. It has a couple other goodies that they're willing to put on there. One of them is a heavy-duty front output shaft. It's just a lot of slop can get in there, and that's something that you have to break open the case for to repair, and I didn't want to worry about it. Since they were going to build this case for me, I opted to have that installed as well. One of the really interesting things I found when I started researching Samurai transfer case is the shifter. The stock Samurai transfer case shifting allows you a neutral, 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. That's pretty common for pretty much every truck out there, but one of the problems is the Samurai transfer case can't go into neutral, or at least a true neutral. So when people try to flat toe their Samurais, the rear axle is spinning, so the rear drive shaft is spinning. That's going through the case. That's not good. You want to have it in true neutral so people are disconnecting their drive shafts. The new setup from Trail Tough is going to have a new shifting pattern, which I'm excited about that because that means if I flat toe, I'm not going to have to remove my rear drive shaft, and I'm not going to need to worry about the transfer case being in neutral and all those things moving around. We can get this into too low now. Most transfer cases just have the too high option. People say, why do you want too low? I would never use it. I tell you what, all the time when I'm off-roading, I wish I had it too low. The difference between too low and for low is when you're locked up front, and sometimes even when you're not locked, it gets hard to turn. And especially in a Samurai axle up front, you want to give that thing a break as much as you possibly can. You don't want it to be running locked and for low all of the time. That's just a lot of abuse. It can help you turn sharper if you're only in too low. Sometimes you still want that gearing to slow you down when you're on the trail, and you don't necessarily need all four wheels pulling. Maybe big trucks, backing up to a trailer, moving a trailer around. So another reason to have too low there. There's a bunch of reasons why people like it. That's why I wanted it. Here's a look at the gear shifter knob that comes with the TT Twisted kit. Really just divides the case in half. If you want only two-wheel drive, you'll be up top. If you want four-wheel drive, you'll be up bottom. This thing looks pretty cool. This comes with the case, which is nice. If you want to buy this for the transmission as well to match, I believe it's about $40, $45, somewhere around there. Pretty cool. It's a nice little touch to have on there, and it's great to have the shift pattern on there because this is kind of a tricky one if you're not used to it. We're at the point where we're putting the mounts in. Now we're going to need to put it in the truck and drill a hole. A couple videos on this already, and there are some great directions out there for this low range off-road EOS Cradle. So I'm not going to go through that again, but I will show you guys a time lapse of me putting it in so you can see how it went.
Hours later.
Got the transfer case and the cradle into the Samurai. Holy smokes, that took forever. Low range off-road has some really good directions on how to put this in. Unfortunately, they didn't really work for me. This exhaust is right in the way of getting this bracket up there, so I had to unbolt all of that. I ended up having to just take this side off completely. This side was really loose. It took a super long time to get this in, but it's in there good now. We've got all of our mounts bolted down. New mount drilled and bolted in right there. So everything looks great. I forgot to put this boot on, so I hate myself. And these freaking take forever to put on, man. I hate doing these, so I'm probably just not going to put it on right now. Don't tell anyone. It's a bit of a relief to have that in there. I thought it was going to be way easier than it was, but I think that EOS Cradle just wasn't lining up right for me. But it's in there good now. I know it's going to be able to withstand all that torque that's going to be going through there. I've read a lot about people running that kind of gearing in their Samurai without any type of reinforcement, and things just get twisted up like crazy. The transmission mount can get ripped off. You know, pieces of metal down there are just bending like crazy. So there's a reason why these guys make all these aftermarket parts, and I've got one. You know, one thing a lot of people talk about is having a weak link in your truck. One of the reasons people don't like to use these cradles, or they don't want to upgrade their transmission mount, they talk about having that weak link in that spot. You know, when we build these trucks, we know that there's going to be a weak link somewhere. There always is, right? So I think you have to figure out, what spot do you want to fail? I've talked with people and they put these drive shafts in their trucks and they're like, yeah, man, it's got a 1410 U-joint. It's super strong. And they're running it on a stock transfer case, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Wouldn't you want your U-joint to break and not some output shaft on your transfer case. I mean, it's going to be way harder to mess with a transfer case. You know, it's super easy to change a U-joint most of the time. So I don't know. I think having a weak link somewhere else, like if you get this Cradle and you get a transmission mount upgraded, which I'm not, I'm going to use the stock one for now. It kind of seems like your motor mounts would probably be the next thing to fail, which are pretty common. I mean, it's not too hard to find motor mounts, and they're easy to make too. So I don't know, it's just something to think about when you're building stuff. You know, when you're making everything stronger, there's always going to be a weak link. The goal for me, I guess, is to get to the point where my weak link is so strong I'm not going to break it on 31s, or, you know, with some reckless driving. So anyways, guys, I hope you got a kick out of this video. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you can dig a little bit deeper into the gearing options and the different transfer case options. I'm really excited to try them out. I mean, just to get it out of the garage, back it out in 2-low. It'll be cool to see how it does. I'm going to have to make a 90 pretty quick to get onto the street, so we'll see how that spool does in there with the rear too. Guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like for me. If there's something I forgot, make sure you put down in the comments and I'll address it. And at least if someone else is watching this video, they can see what you said, and maybe you can steer someone else in the right direction. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. Got a giveaway coming up once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So at the time of recording this, we're about halfway there, so we're making progress. That's about it. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.